Right.
Just out of interest, how do you calculate the change in material requirement?
You see, material quality, let me tell you, you find that in labor there is increase, there is decrease. There is material, you will find that everywhere it is increasing. And this star, double star, these are the statistical level of significance. So it is not that insignificant. But you know, material is a composite thing. This is just not the so-called material. Everything else. Not that no expenditure is involved. There might be certain costly chemicals and other things are required. Right? Certain process changes are involved. Certain consultancy, certain engagement are involved. So all those are captured there. The interesting thing is this, that the argument often goes up. In fact, what this study points out, you better look into what you have to do on current account, for other inputs, support, rather than always taking up the issue that we have to invest more and the capital subsidy has to be there. The whole argument of the industry is, if we have to do things, first of all, give us capital almost free. Make this concession, investment allowance, make that, etc., etc. Make a subsidized interest. Now the kind of statistical significance of the result that we obtain, it says, you do not have to do that. You be disciplined, try to discipline through the prices. Rather look at what other subsidiary inputs you have to provide via material, quote unquote, which is a catch-all kind of thing.
One question. You have basically several components of the equation which is giving you the results per group. So this percentage change in material requirement, is this only the mathematical output of the equation trying to balance
itself out? It is the mathematical output of the equation based on those data all over time, which has captured them.
Because if I consider from logical perspective, I would add the fourth column because for example, if you take the cement, if you decrease your energy demand for cement, but you want to maintain the same level of production of cement, and then you say instead of that I have an offset in the increase of the percentage change in the material requirement, then in this case you are saying basically that you just need to input more material, and then with less energy you make the same level of the same level of output. But the thing is that in the reality, with the input of more material, you cannot make.
You see, let me just point out here. How is it that in the cement industry, I get, say, best 25% or that perform, accordingly? How is it that for top 10%, and they are averaging, if you can reach there, you can save 50% of energy. You can electricity 40% you can save. Even if top 25% if I take, I can save 38% or 30%. Now they are not requiring, they are similar units. The point is this, so long as you do not discipline my energy pricing, they will not be disciplined, they will not do anything. You see, this is a very important analogy of our industry's behavior. They would not do anything unless you really give a proper market signal. And if I go on keeping things subsidized, then it will not behave. This is getting reflected there. You can do it.
Because if you go to this table with the 4 columns, my theory is that the 4th column belongs to the 2nd one. So if the 4th column is only
actually,
output, from a logical perspective, I would put it into the 2nd one.
Exactly. Actually, the real attention should be given there. What do they need other than capital? Don't argue always, this is my message, don't argue always for interest subsidy and capital investment alliance. Always people are focusing on fiscal consideration. What can we put in the budget and then forget about it? It requires much more careful attention. Apart from fiscal thing, what else you need? You need a lot of things. We have to look at that. Okay, can we now go ahead? Because I have to scope many other things because otherwise I cannot finish. Now there is what do I choose? Because Sunil is there. There are several other issues. What should I? Now let me go to, so one thing is there is definitely India has substantive scope of greening, but ensuring ultimate resource efficiency through conservation and doing things in energy consuming, energy efficient. Then there is also a question of supply side issue, where of course such potential of solution is not that high. We have done that. I do not have the slides for that, because that was just finished just last month. Something, but it is not of this kind of 40%, 50% order, it may be 15%. Now about what is the other ways of greening, that is carbon neutral or carbon free options. So let me just talk a bit about that. There is no, how long I can continue. I can continue up to 12:45? Okay, that's good. Let me address the issue of both oil security and the issue of can we move to some carbon neutral fuel, like biofuel. Oil is concerned. It is both important from security point of view and the carbon stress point of view. Now India is as I said, is an energy importer. This is how the share of net imports and domestic production in the total quantity has moved around total supply, net imports and domestic production of crude oil. As supplied, and what is the share of its import? You see, our imports after the discovery of Bombay High. Okay. When we discovered our Bombay High hydrocarbons, the share dropped of import dropped to 20%. But then it increased and it has reached now about 80%. Energy demand has, oil demand has grown, supply has reached a plateau. And these are internal. This is how India's annual crude oil production has been. So you just see 94, 95, and from that point onward, from here onward, more or less same. Production is not increasing. So we have reached a plateau. In fact, with one of my PhD students, I worked on a model of how product accretion, the production is behaves with cumulative production. And when generally there is, you might be familiar with the Hubbard-Scarp hypothesis, that when the cumulative production has reached the half of total reserve which was prognosticated or estimated for a country, when it crosses that, your production will be declining. You cannot afford that. Now for India we estimated, for the world this has been estimated, there are several studies, and which shows that around 2014 to 16, the world will cross the Hubert Curve's peak. That means by that time, the total cumulative depletion that has taken place in hydrocarbon in the world will cross the half of the reserve to be known, which is there under the ground. Now, after that, your global production trend is supposed to decline, and your international long-run price for hydrocarbon, oil, is supposed to be pumped up. You can, other things might cause fluctuation, but there will be a firm tendency. This is one of the reasons why alternative fuel for energy and for oil, for particularly transport sector is so crucial and important. For India, we examined, we fitted the same model and found that yes, it was around mid-90s, it has reached the peak. And when I plot the exact graph, I find exactly the same thing. And its implication is very obvious, that what it might lead to. Now, Government of India is conscious about that and thought of promoting both ethanol as well as diesel, biodiesel. Now, on the ethanol, it is sugarcane. Our approach is from sugarcane, the molasses that you get, you now use that molasses for producing ethanol. One can think of straight from cane juice to produce ethanol, but that would mean, the sugar market would be very much affected. Now, for the diesel is concerned, I will only share with you the diesels, biodiesels. It is the jatropha cultivation, and use the jatropha seed in biorefinery to crush and get diesel oil, biodiesel oil. The whole problem here is this. This problem arises also if you think of expanding the cultivation area of sugarcane, is that you then reduce ultimately the area under other crops. So your oil security, while I am trying to ensure, it may affect my food security. In fact, this issue was examined, in fact, when this international food price hike, particularly on livestock food prices, were shooting up. Then to one extent in North America, this use of corn and acreage of corn, that became important to produce oil, diesel oil. Now the similar issue comes up here, and with all the, the problem was that the problem is that if my biodiesel price or ethanol price is linked with the international price of oil, then accordingly if the jatropha seeds price, suppose you allow market to track it, and accordingly jatropha seeds price is, determined when the market drives accordingly, then what will happen? Producing energy cultivation may become more important, more attractive to the business than cultivation, unless the food prices shoots up and raises the return of the land use for food production. So the whole thing becomes then a competition of land use, because land is something for any country which is absolutely fixed. You can import capital, you can import energy, you can import labor, you can import technology, everything. But you cannot import a square inch of land. Square inch of land is fixed, and cultivability of land is not as per our wishes. So it is diversion of one type of land to the other type of land, with which our ecological footprint calculation begins. Now here also, we worked out what is the critical high-speed diesel price in international market in dollar per barrel, which will make these these crops would be competed out by biofuel. So now you see, these are the critical numbers. Now at any point of time, if you look at the international price of diesel, quite a number of times you will find that when some of the crops in different states are vulnerable, the top columns are giving Indian states for names of the states. And in fact, we have worked with the Agricultural Prices Commission's data. So we had very much verified whether these cost calculation from which I will get the ground rent. Actually what happened, the ground rent which you can impute for the use of acreage for food or non-food or energy for something else, was to calculate that carefully and then see, compare. And what is the kind of competing fuels price which will make things vulnerable. So that is why, and that is another thing, government said in response to this criticism, okay, we are going to regulate and restrict the energy cultivation only to wasteland. But what is the wasteland which would be suitable for this cultivation? That is very limited. So for both these counts, we cannot go beyond a point. That is what we thought. Now about other fuels, I do not spend any time. I would like to stop now. Just one may think of, okay, forget about carbon neutral biofuel. What about abiotic, carbon-free fuel? Now, we are still at a very preliminary stage. This is what all renewable, including major hydro, all the entire generations, if you consider capacity, thermal, renewable, hydro, nuclear, this is the share. And if you consider 2010, 31st March, what was the total capacity which was grid interactive? There, from the renewable sources, these were the corresponding configuration. Only wind power has got some significance. Now lastly,